The case scenario used for this process recording was Sue Green and Kurt. The interview conducted started from the end of the last session between Sue Green and Kurt, and I am playing the social worker role. I will be a school counselor in the setting of a high school counseling center. Kurt is a high school student who is seeking services with a social worker to work through an issue regarding peer pressure. He is having a difficult time standing up to his friend who is pressuring him to use drugs, and Kurt would like to stop being friends with him and needs assistance moving forward with breaking off this relationship. Hi Kurt, thank you for coming in today.
Hi.
So, last time we talked, I asked you to come up with some specific points about Mike and why you don't want him in your life anymore. Is that something you worked on over the last week?
Yeah. Yeah, you asked to have me think about who I want in my life and what I want to have in my life.
Yes.
And I wrote down just some silly things maybe, but things like I would like to have positive people who influence me in a positive way in my life. Meaning, that will help me find success in things that I want to do. Like maybe if I wanted to go to college in the future, people that are going to encourage me to do those things or help me get there by being like-minded.
Okay.
Those are the kind of people and things I want in my life.
Okay, so having a support system that supports your goals and your wants of going to college and not bringing you down to using drugs.
Yeah, or if it's anything, and not even necessarily, I haven't really thought about college too much yet, but anything. If I want to go start a business, or I just want people who are positive and supportive and like-minded. And I feel like we were friends for a long time, and at one point we were, but now we're really not. Now he's going in a direction that I'm not comfortable with, so maybe it's that I'm not as like-minded as him, but still, I just don't feel like we're headed in the same direction, and I don't like that.
Okay. So, who is in your life now, besides Mike, that are your friends and that are supportive?
There's a couple other people that are better off, and that aren't taking that direction.
Okay.
I have a friend named Tom that he plays sports in school, and he's just he might not be the best student, but he's a good person. He likes to help out around his house, and he's encouraging me because I've talked to him about this too, and he says a lot of the same sort of things, and I feel like if you're saying it and he's saying it, that kind of puts him in that group of people that are positive. You know what I mean?
Okay. So it sounds like Tom is someone that you can really rely on, and he'll have your back if you do want to break things off with Mike and you no longer want to be friends with him.
Yeah, absolutely. He's very supportive in that, because he's, like I said, he plays sports, so he's used to that team, I think.
Okay.
And he's good with his sports friends,
Okay, yeah. So, as far as breaking things off with Mike and not being friends with him anymore, did you think a little bit about how you were going to do that?
That's really hard. I don't know if there's a good way to do it, because we've been friends for a long time. I know his family. He knows my family. We hang out. It's hard to tell someone like
you don't want to be friends anymore.
Yeah, I don't like you anymore.
Yeah, I can understand that. Let's try this. Let's think of the perfect way that conversation would go.
Okay.
And can you explain to me how that would go to you? Like, how would that perfect conversation look like to you?
Well, perfectly, it would be like, I would explain the situation to him. I just don't like the direction he's headed. And he would say, look, I understand, no hard feelings. And then we would just walk away from each other and it'd be okay.
Yeah.
That would be perfect. But I don't feel like it would go that way because I've known him for a long time. He's not like a hothead or anything, but I would be hurt if one of my friends came and told me that my actions aren't good enough. That's how I feel like I'd be telling him he's not good enough for me.
So, how do you think that you can bring this up to him without hurting his feelings, or trying to hurt his feelings as least as possible, but still getting your point across to him that, look, I can't really be friends with you anymore. This isn't something that I'm comfortable with.
Maybe kind of just like that, to talk about not him as a person, but what he's doing, not who he is, but what he's doing. And I think there's a difference, because good people make bad choices sometimes. And maybe if I can explain to him why I don't like what he's doing, or why I don't think it's a good direction. Maybe we can have that conversation without it being so. It's about him as a person, because I feel like I'd be offending him, and it's not really what I'm after. So maybe if I talk about that.
Is there a possibility that you can bring up that you don't like his behaviors without offending him, and still having the possibility of having a friendship with him? Or do you think he's just not willing to change his behaviors, and you're not willing to work with him on that relationship or on that friendship?
I think there's a possibility that because we've known each other for so long, that he's gonna be willing to listen to me.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like I've seen this before. Like I have an uncle who, is not that much older than me, but he did this, and it's like the exact same thing. I feel like it's one of those things where once someone really gets into it and they enjoy it, which Mike does, that they don't really want to walk away from it. They would rather do that than be friends with someone that doesn't want to do it. They'll find other friends.
But do you think it's a possibility that he could?
Yes, I think he'd be willing at least to hear me out, because we're friends. But
so, do you think what are some ways that you could bring it up to him, that you guys could try to salvage your friendship and have that conversation that you're not comfortable with what he's doing, and that you don't want to do it either? Because that's the main problem you're having, right? Is he's trying to pressure you into joining him to do these drugs, and you're just not comfortable?
I think that I would have to approach it, like I said, from I don't like what you're doing and why I don't like that. Maybe talk about my uncle and explain how that affected me, and help him understand why I feel that way. And maybe because he's my friend, he'll respect that enough to maybe at least try to take a step away from it and see it my way for a little while.
I think that's a good plan for you to have. I think that would be. It's going to be difficult, and you're you are aware that it's going to be difficult. That's why you're having so much trouble with this. But it's just definitely something that you need to do for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about who you want in your life. I know you talked about wanting a support system and wanting people around. Is Mike someone that you want around?
If he, stopped doing these things, then yeah, I love that kid. He's been my friend for a very, very long time. I would like to keep him around, and I know what kind of person he is. Like I said, good people make bad choices sometimes, and I feel like the support system that I'm looking for, he didn't have, and it allowed him to get. I would love to have him around if he didn't continue to follow this path. It's negative.
Okay. So having this difficult conversation with him, have you ever had to end a friendship before?
No.
No?
No, I'm really afraid about that.
Okay. So that's something that you're really struggling with. When before have you had an uncomfortable conversation with somebody that you weren't sure how it was going to go or how they were going to react?
Well, I've never approached it ever, but I've had those, Mike asking me to, participate in these things. That's uncomfortable for me, because I have to tell him no, I don't want to do it. But it's kind of the opposite, where he's approaching me with something, but he's not shy about it. For him, it's just fun.
Yeah.
but I've never had to tell someone something like I don't like this thing about you.
Okay. Have you ever had to, maybe not a friend, but like your family, let them know how you feel about something?
Yeah.
So when you were successful in that in the past, how did you make that happen? Where you were able to explain your feeling to them and let them know how you felt without offending them?
Well, with my family, it's different because it's family. Like you can kind of like blow up on a family member, and because it's your sister, they just expect it.
Yeah.
But then you can calm down and explain where that came from, and everyone kind of is okay with it. I can't. I couldn't tell you how I've done it six. It just doesn't. It's not. I don't know. I just didn't think about it.
Okay. When do you think you're going to have that conversation with him? Are you ready?
I don't know.
No.
I feel like yes. I know I have to have the conversation. I know what needs to be said. So I feel like I should have it as soon as I can. Like the next time I see him, I should just spit it out. Because even if it doesn't go well, at least it's done.
Yeah.
But I'm just afraid of how that's gonna feel.
So maybe what you can do, we're meeting next week, right?
Yes.
I know it's summer break, but we're meeting next week. Do you want to think over this next week, exactly how you want that conversation to go, so you're kind of rehearsing it in your head and you're preparing yourself for what's going to happen? Do you think that that's a good idea?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay, so why don't you work on that, and then I will see you next week, Friday, at the same time.
Okay.
Okay, thanks for coming in, Kurt.
No problem.